Hello, YouTube. Sidekick here in my trusty F-86 Sabre armed with rockets again today. Today we're going to go out and do a rocket practice mission, I guess you would call it, or training mission. Not actually working on the range, but actually working with some real targets, including some that fire back. But they are going to be set up in that we're going to know where they are, and we're going to be able to mark them with smoke and stuff, so it's not exactly completely real life. It is a training scenario, but the enemy is using live ammunition today. This is based on a mission that I originally developed for the A4 for rockets, modified it just a little for the Sabre. The main thing I found is I had to take out a little bit of the AAA. With HVARs, basically World War II technology, you try to use those against even 1960s era AAA, and it's more or less suicidal. So took out a little bit of the AAA, but there still are some AAA units in the mission, so we are going to have to be pretty tactical. Just getting ourselves set up. You saw me setting up the rockets there. We're going to use the rockets on auto. The one thing that I have found I'm doing a little bit differently, just as we're getting taken off here, I'll tell you about it. I'm doing a little bit differently than in the last mission, was I realized I could actually change the size of the sight even when it's mechanically caged. And so after a little bit of testing, I found that somewhere around 47 or 48 meter wingspan actually gives me a gun sight where the bottom pip is just about exactly where I want it for rocket attacks. So if you go back to my previous video where we were on the range, you'll find that I was kind of trying to have to estimate the release point on the gun sight, but I didn't realize I could actually change the size of it. So I've changed it to about 47, 48 meters. It's still going to stay caged, but we're going to be able to use the bottom pip as our release point pretty consistently, I think now. So we're just going to take off here, and so we're gear up and flaps up, just building up some speed so we can climb out. And so the way that it's going to work today is that we're going to have a radio menu, so an F10 menu, and we'll be able to pick targets, and then we'll be able to activate the one that we want. It will be marked with a smoke mark of a particular color, and then we'll be able to go and engage the target at our leisure. And once we're done with one target, we can activate another one. Now, it doesn't deactivate the old ones. We do have to be careful. If we leave anything behind, it might still shoot at us. Most of the targets have at least some self-defense built into them. The first one that we'll go look at is a Convoy. It's undefended. Everything else has at least some 23 millimeter AAA. And that's going to require a slightly different approach than we used on the range. The range was good for learning how to set up the attack, but we're going to have to be a bit more tactical. At least that's been my experience. If you take a nice long straight run like we did on the range, it's basically game over with any kind of AAA, because you just have to get so close with the HVARs. So we're just climbing out here. All the targets are over in this sort of training area near where the range area is. So we'll just get ourselves leveled out here, and we'll pick up that first target in a sec. Alright, so F10, and we're going to pick Activate Convoy. Convoy is activated. We're going to see a little puff of green smoke you can see down the road there. And we're just going to make a nice leisurely roll in here. We just got to keep pushing through just a little, because we do have to get lined up on the road if we want to take out the convoy. There we go. Roll it in now. Just like before, I'm using the center of the sight as my flight path vector. I'm going to use the bottom pipper now, set at about 47, 48 meter wingspan, but we're going to use the bottom pipper now as our release mark. So we're just going to stay lined up on the road as we come in here. Now, this kind of long, slow approach like this is fine with an undefended target. At least the experience I've had testing this mission, if I tried this with anything where there was AAA, I'd be dead. So you have to get in really close. Remember, cardinal rule of using rockets, you got to be twice as close as you think you need to be. Okay, getting there now. Let's let the Pipper come up to the target. And there we go. Nice. That looked like a very satisfactory amount of destruction. Okay, so let's go back out towards the coast here, and let's pick another target. Let's take the artillery battery this time. It's out closer to the coast. It's going to be marked with red smoke. Oh, there it is in that tree line. So I know it's along the tree line, but I also know that it has a 23 millimeter emplacement a little bit farther out in the field there to protect it. So I'm going to get down a little bit lower here. Remember to pull back the power or we gain way too much speed. So I'm just going to dive down a little here and then come around kind of in a spiraling approach. And then I'm going to do a pop-up attack. What I'm trying to do, what seems to work, is you really do have to keep changing direction to keep the AAA guessing. So even after I pop up here, then I'm going to roll over. So I get a good look at the target here. I'm going to roll into the target, but I'm not going to try and line up on it right away and do a nice straight approach like we practice on the range. I'm going to actually kind of keep jinking as I go in to keep confusing the AAA. So I'm not quite on the target yet. See where the target is. I'm going to go a little to the left of the target and come back a little bit to the right. Try and keep those AAA gunners guessing a little bit. There, you see, they took a shot. Got to get closer with the H-fires. We got to get closer. There's another shot. We got to get closer. There we go. And good hits. All right, let's pull up and around. Well, that worked that time. That second round of AAA was a little bit closer than I really would have liked it to have been. One thing I've certainly found with the Sabre, it's not very durable to AAA fire. And I think, you know, that's just accurate. You know, the Sabre was not designed to be a ground attack aircraft. And I think that what, you know, what people were finding in the 1950s and 60s was that ground fire was just getting much more deadly and much more durable aircraft were needed to put up with it. Okay, so we picked another target. This time we picked the Outpost. It's going to be around to our left here. It's going to be marked with orange smoke. Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the really interesting things about being able to fly so many aircraft at DCS is, you know, you go from the Sabre to the A4, and then, you know, eventually end up at the A10. And, you know, what a difference in terms of the approach to being able to survive in an actual denied environment. Because the Sabre really has no ability to do that at all. The A4 is a bit better, but the A10, you know, was really designed with that kind of environment in mind. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing here. Get down a little bit lower, pop up, and then just try to keep from going straight into the target until the very last minute that we have to get lined up on the target. Pulling up, keeping it in view just over the sill of the cockpit there. Roll over. Pull down towards the target, but I'm not going to try and do my final lineup just yet. Just get going in the direction of the target. A little bit down and left. Back up to the right. Not a lot of jinking, but maybe it's just enough to confuse the aim. Come up to the target here pretty soon. On the target, just beyond the target, and hold, and wait, and wait, and wait, and wait, and there we go. And that looked like a bunch of pretty solid hits as well. All right, well, maybe we should press our luck and just do one more. So the mission, in case you hadn't noticed, is set with unlimited ammunition, so you can just keep engaging however many targets you want to without actually having to count rockets. Again, not meant to be a realistic mission, just maybe slightly more realistic targets. So let's take a look at the AAA battery this time. This is a battery of 40mm Bofors anti-aircraft guns, and it's marked with blue smoke. It's going to be over to the left there. There it is. So maybe we'll try and take that one from the other side. Maybe we'll go up that ridge line and use the ridge line to kind of mask our approach. See how we do that time. So we'll Dive down here, try not to gain too much speed, go past the target, then come around at it from the other side. So this mission will be available on my Discord server if you want to take a look at it and give it a try in the F-86. I found it pretty entertaining trying to figure out just how to survive making rocket attacks against any kind of AAA fire with the F-86. Quite a bit more of a challenge, actually, than it was with the A4, which, as I said, is kind of interesting and I think probably a sign of the times. Most of the ground attack work that the Sabre probably did, especially in Korea, most of the ground fire was probably just heavy machine gun fire, if that. So this is actually a pretty challenging environment for the Sabre to do ground attacking, I think. Okay, so we're going to come up the ridge here, keep the target off our left wing, and just get a little closer, and then we're going to do a pop-up. Alright, up we go. And the target in view over the sill there. Roll it in. Alright, try and keep a little bit of jinking going here. See the guns there to the right of the smoke. They're already shooting at us though, which doesn't mean means maybe we've given them a little bit too much of a look. Let's see if we can keep them guessing here. Almost to the point. They're getting a little close. Keep coming. Keep it coming. And there it is. But, uh-oh, that's not good. I do not have control of this aircraft. Well, I guess that's what happens when you let them get too much of a look at you on the way in. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video anyways. For now, this is going to be Sidekick, signing off.